What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Now, normally I drop this video on the 1st of the month. Some things came up yesterday. I wasn't able to actually get this out, but we are doing the 1st of the month video on the 2nd, but neither here nor there. If you've seen one of these videos before, we're not really talking about anything really different or unique this week, but we have enough new players that I think this really warrants a good amount of attention. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Also, I know these tend to go on really long. I'm going to try to keep this one at least as concise as I can. But there's a lot of information to go over, so let's go ahead and jump in. If you guys are new at the game, you probably aren't aware that you can use your old, like, 2 and 3 star units that you're probably honestly never going to use. You can use those units to upgrade your 4-star units and maybe even acquire a little free-to-play Iris for the anniversary that we're currently in, as well as a number of other things. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now, if you go to this gear icon here up at the top, and you go over to inventory, and you go to bond here, this is going to list every single bond we have in the game. Now, you will notice I'm a little light on 2 and 3 star bonds at the moment. There's 2 reasons for that. Number 1, leading up to the anniversary, I upgraded a lot of units. And I'll go into that here in a moment, why that's a good thing and a bad thing. But also, the end of last month, I sold a bunch of bonds. As you can see, I've got like none up at the top. And there's a very good reason for that. Well, number 1, I sold a bunch of bonds. Number 2, if we go over here to consumable, this is probably something you should check. You go down here, and it's going to list every ticket you've got. And I've got a lot of them. Starting here with the 2-star tickets. It'll tell me actually what the timeout date is. I got 15 days left on these. I've been sitting out a bunch of these. There's, we're not too bad on 2-star tickets. I don't have a huge amount of 3-star tickets. Okay, so I lied. And actually, I have a good number of 4-star tickets. And some 11 draws and etc. So, as you guys know, we're getting an 11 draw every single day. In fact, I got a few up here that I need to use before they time out. This one's going to time out in a week. But the long and the short of it is because we're getting these tickets every single day right now, and we're going to get just a huge number of 3-star tickets from the current tale and all that stuff, especially considering the fact that this tale is going to have at least 3 parts, and each part's going to warrant you, 28, I believe? 3-star tickets each? So, yeah, we're going to get a number of free bonds just during this event. We're going to get a ton of these guys. Now, going to talk here for a moment about upgrading 2 and 3-star units. So if we go into status board here, I'm going to limit mine down to 2 and 3-star. And you'll see here that I have a good number of mine max limit broken. And the main reason for that is very simply, you get 10 Iris every time you max limit break a unit. And I hear you going, oh, well, I'll just max limit break all mine. Well, you might want to wait on that for a minute. You might want to put the brakes on that real fast, because there's actually the potential, if you are new at the game, I will emphasize, and you haven't done a lot of CP rewards, you could probably benefit, and I do mean greatly, just by chilling on your 3-stars. Now, there are a few 3-stars, especially assists, that you probably could utilize in events. I'm looking mostly at, let's go here to assists for a moment. Units like this Misha, for instance, okay? At max limit break, she does stun resist 100%, and that's for all allies. So if you are new at the game and you don't have, the anklets to do stun resist and all that stuff, she's a really good one. So we have stun resist, we have, I don't remember what she does, I think she does one of them, poison resist, what was this Hermes one of them? That's the other Hermes, actually, I believe. Sleep resist, so on and so forth. So those types of units are actually really, really, really good. So you want to pay attention to those. Those units are actually worthwhile regardless to upgrade. I've had a video planned on that for a long time. I probably just need to get that out at some point. But, just so you're aware, not every 2 and 3-star unit is worthless. But most, especially the adventurers, pretty much are. So what I'm about to do here is only really done because I am kind of out of mostly useful bonds. But let's go in here. I'm going to go to inventory, back, I'm going to go to bond, and basically if you'll notice, I've only got a handful of 2-star bonds. And obviously a lot of that is because of what I did before, and because at the end of the month, I finished up what I'm about to do now. So if we go to sell multiple bonds, if you see like my little sell button down there at the bottom, you scroll to the top right below rank, you'll see a button that says sell multiples. Okay? The little sell surplus button, you can do that for your 2, 3, and 4-star units. Click sell, and actually I don't have any because I just did this the other day. But what's really nice is what I'm about to do here. I'm going to click sell all. Now, notice it looks like you can still click 4-star, but if I click 4-star, it won't let me sell all my 4-stars. There's a very, very, very good reason for that, because basically if you sell your 4-stars, all of them, you could sell some new units, you could sell some irreplaceable units, you could really mess up hard, so it won't let you do it. It'll let you sell surplus, but it won't let you sell multiple. And a surplus literally is any unit, or any bond that you don't need to maximum break a unit. So if I go back in here for a moment, you'll notice that I have 4 bonds on this Loki. Loki actually has 1 bond in her already, I believe. If I click and hold on her, it should tell me. Yeah. Actually, no, I don't. I just have 4 bonds for her natively. Let's see. Same with him. Dionysus. Yeah. So Dionysus is a good example. So I've got two bonds here, and 3 are already filled in. So if I was going to max them, I break this Dionysus. This is a unit that does 25% sleep. He's a sleep ailment assist. Basically, I could max him out if I wanted to and use him on like a war game team or something. That's actually a pretty respectable thing to do, but I don't need him. I've got other units that do this. So what I'm about to do is kind of something I wouldn't recommend most people do. I would simply recommend selling your surplus bonds, but considering how many tickets we're getting right now, it's not the worst thing in history. But watch the whole video before you make your final decision as to what you're going to do. So, I'm going to go back and sell multiple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sell all of my 2 and 3-star bonds. All of them. Honestly, because I just don't have any surplus at the moment. So let's go ahead and sell all. Now, you'll see here it tells me I have 436 Seiros. That's the white gems up there. I didn't gain any Dulb, the black gem, and that's simply because Dulb is only really gained by selling a 4-star summonable unit. And that also doesn't include the April Fool's units. They don't give you Dulb either. But any non-time limited, standard summonable unit or time limited summonable unit, save for the anniversary, or I'm sorry, save for the anniversary units, save for the April Fool's units, will give you Dulb. We'll go into what Dulb is here in a moment, but it's not horrendously important if you're new at the game, because you're probably not going to utilize that much. But what I'm going to do down here is I'm actually going to grab a 2-star unit that I don't need. Case in point, probably this Osfi. Let's see what Osfi does. Okay, so I'm going to her status board here, and yeah, most of her skills aren't terribly useful for me. And now I could max them and break her with this bond, but for me personally, I actually don't want to. I really have no desire to max them and break this unit anymore. She's not as useful. They've stopped doing a lot of the rebalances that they used to do in this game. Unfortunately, that does mean the power creep is pretty insane, but neither here nor there. I don't really need her, so I'm going to go ahead and sell her bond. Max that out. And that's going to give me 20 Dulb and a little bit more Seiros. So, what are these gems? Let's go ahead and talk about that real quick, okay? Now, if I go down here to shop, that's gotcha. If I click on the right button, I go to shop, and I go to Seiros and Dulb exchange, okay? In here, if I scroll a little bit down further, you'll see that I can actually gain a few more tickets. Normally, I'd recommend doing that, but we're reading so many tickets right now, I would probably say do the next thing first. But if you're paying attention here, okay, this would cost you, they cost 50 Seiros, and there's 10 of these. 500 to do that. This is 10, and there's 10 of these. It's 100 to do that. That's actually really good value. I would actually highly recommend doing this. But for the sake of this video, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to grab CP items. Why is this preferable? Well, I'll go into what CP items are first, but notice that we've got quite a few of these. Dungeon Cake, Dungeon Sandwich, Book of Nobility, Book of Knowledge, Big Bouquet, Single Flower, and Aurario souvenirs. Now, if you're new at the game, you don't need to worry about this one. This one is only for crossover units. So, you know, if you have like the Goblin Slayer units, if you have like the Attack of Titan units, which hopefully will rerun later this year, though we've been saying that for 6 months now and it hasn't yet. We'll see what happens later on. It's looking kind of bleak for that rerun, sadly. But if you have any kind of rerun unit, that's what these are for. So if you're new at the game, you don't need to worry about these. You really need to worry about these. And I find personally the most useful are the dungeon sandwiches and the dungeon cakes. Okay, and you will notice the dungeon sandwich costs 5 Seiros and the dungeon cake costs 10. I'll get into why that is here in a moment. But these seem to be the most useful. The bouquets and the flowers seem to be the second most. The books, not very many units use them. But what are these used for? What does this have to do with Iris? And what does it have to do with upgrading 4-star units? Allow me to explain right now. Okay, if I go, and I'll go ahead and show you what I'm doing here. If I go to the character list over here, it's that first button on the bottom there, and I go to character list right here. This is going to bring up all my units in the game. You will notice they all have CP levels. What are CP levels? Well, very simply put, if I click on CP reward list, every time I level up a character, I'm getting one of these attributes. Okay, so CP level 2 is 10 agility. CP level 3 actually is dialogue for like the town, but also I got 5 Iris. Pretty nice little reward, and that's actually fairly easy to obtain. I'll show you what I mean by that here in a moment as well. But then I get 8 Dex, 5 Iris, 50 HP, very nice. 5 more Iris, 10 MP, another very nice reward. 5 more Iris, 12 Strength, 5 more Iris, so on and so forth. Now Haruhime is what, level 48? She is darn near maxed out. Max level is level 50. Now, you will notice the final levels mostly give you Ascension, Fauna, a little bit more Iris, things like that. A lot of Valis there. So, after I get to a certain point, these are what I call vanity rewards. They're like, you know, Exilia books, Valis, Iris, things like that. But up to level, I'd say 39 is like your last really good upgrade reward. And after you upgrade these units, your stats change drastically. And I do mean drastically. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. So, showcasing Haruhime, because she's my highest level unit. If I go down here, I'm going to utilize the new Haruhime. Because if you upgrade, like, Lily here, it works for all of her units. My Lily upgrades will work for every Lily in the game, with the exception of the little girl one. And in the case of Haruhime, every single upgrade on that Haruhime counts towards Haruhime herself, wherever she went. I think I passed her. We'll do this the easy way. Filter, regular, and Haruhime. She was below Ryu. I just wasn't patient enough. So that level 48 CP counts for every single one of these units in the game. So I've got the new one here, and I just maxed them a broker. So I'm going to go ahead and take her up to level 80, and all purple stars. Okay? So, HP here, 3675. The best thing I could recommend here is to pay attention to the HP and the magic stat. Those, and the agility stat too. Those are going to be the 3 big ones for her. Obviously, because she is a magic unit, that's going to be higher. If it's a strength unit, pay attention to the strength stat, but neither here nor there. So 3576, 1003, and 1768. Those are the big ones. Okay? So I go back out here and I go to the status board. And I grab that Haruhime out of my list here. A little bit below Ryu. There we go. Now mine is once again fully maxed Limit Broken. We're now almost 4,000. We're at 3906. We're at 1885 for magic and 1105 for agility. She got a massive boost. I mean, almost 4,000 HP. Like, what is that? I want to say that's up almost 400. Not quite 400, but pretty close to 400 HP. That's huge. That's massive. And then when I start putting weapons and armor on her, I can get more stats and things like that. But this is like sans armor, sans weapons. This is just base. So, really good stat. Like, she gets a massive, massive, massive stat boost. Now, obviously, if you don't have max CP, you're not going to see those rewards. But That's what I mean by you could sell your 2 and 3 stars and massively, I do mean massively upgrade your 4-star units by selling 3 stars. And that's another reason why I say it is actually, possible to sell off your 2 and 3 stars and get a massive bonus for it. Now, once again, early game, you don't want to be careful about that. You don't want to run yourself out. The other thing I do want to talk about, if you do choose to go the route of maxing out your 2 and 3 stars, one thing I will warn you, be very careful about this. We're going to go to sort, we're going to go by 2 and 3 stars. So if you notice, when I max a unit out, I take this unit up to level 76. The reason I do that, and I also don't fill in the last board down here. And the main reason I do this is because if you go down here to guild, and your daily guild, basically daily guild rewards, one of them is to do status board or level. Okay. Now, if I max all my 2-3 stars, I am very unlikely to be able to do that. So basically, you either have to have a 4-star you can upgrade, or you have to have something. If all of your units are level 80 and completely filled on the status board, you could be in trouble. You could be in a bad state. Now, like I said, some of the ones you're going to use, that's fine. But some of the units you're not going to use every single day, be careful. Be a little picky and a little cautious about who you're going to upgrade. Now, I am aware, and I will say this, when you upgrade a 2 and 3-star unit, the reason that I did this for the anniversary was to grind a little iris. When you upgrade a unit, fully upgrade. Take it from level 1 to level 80. Not even level 80. From level 1 to max the limit break. I'm not even going to say level 80 because it doesn't really give you anything there. It's only when you fill in that last bond, which is why I can leave them at level 76 and then not fill in the status board. So when you do that last limit break from level 1 all the way up there, you gain 80 iris. So it's really good. Like, you get a good amount of iris for each unit limit broken. So if you're looking to gain a little bit of iris, that's a good way to do it. But hear me out. If we go back down here to character list, okay, now I'm going to go to the bottom, and I left a few units that I probably should have upgraded, unupgraded for a very good reason. That was this video, okay? Ilya and Aphrodite. These 2 units have CP level 1. Nothing. They've got diddly squat, okay? Now, I want you to pay close attention. I currently have 4811. 4811 is my iris. If I go down here one more time, and I'm going to grab Aphrodite, because Aphrodite actually, she has an adventure unit now and all that stuff, so I think she's going to be paid a little better for the upgrade, but I'm going to upgrade to both, it doesn't really matter. But neither here nor there. If I go to offer present, she'll use the single flowers, which is good. I got a ton of single flowers. But she also has these holy torches. Hopefully you've been farming those up. So I'm just going to go ahead and give her 20 of those. Okay? That's going to take her up to 10,000 CP, which is going to give her CP level 19. Not quite 20. So what do we get? We got 10 agility, 5 iris, 6 dex, now 10 iris, 50 HP, 15 iris, 10 MP, 20 iris. We got 20 iris just for this. Just literally for nothing. Now, strength 12, 25 iris, magic 12, 30 iris, and then we got 40, 50, we got 50 iris just for that. Just for that little bump, we got 50 iris. That's not bad. Like, that's, getting that CP level up to level 19 really didn't cost us much. It was 10,000 level. That's really not that big of a deal. If I get on here to Ilya now for a present, if we do books of knowledge, to do that would be, let's see, that would be 50 books of knowledge. It sounds expensive, but it's not much. I mean, that is honestly about half what you could farm through the event, but believe me, since you can farm this through the current, tail gacha and things like that, that's really not that much. Ultimately, it's really not that bad. I'm going to go back down here, and I'm not going to actually do that. But here's the really crazy part about this. So Book of Knowledge, you'll see, is 200 CP. If I go down here, I actually don't have one. So I'll go back over here to Aphrodite. Thought I did have them, but I don't. So single flower is 200 CP. That's the same as the Book of Knowledge. Book of Knowledge was 200 CP for Ilya. Now, the one thing that I didn't point out with Ilia, you'll notice that Book of Knowledge is now 100 for Aphrodite. Single Flowers, 200 for Aphrodite, where Single Flowers, 100 for Ilia. Because, see that little heart? That little heart is what that unit prefers. So Aphrodite wants Single Flowers, Ilia wants books. So they all have what they prefer. That's another reason why I said that the dungeon sandwiches and dungeon cakes are a little better than the flowers, which are a little better than the books. My opinion. More units just seem to use the dungeon cakes and dungeon sandwiches than the single flowers. But because this unit does prefer single flowers, I'm going to use these, or I could use the big bouquets. Now remember I said single flowers are 5 Seiros a unit, big bouquets are 10 Seiros a unit. It's because single flowers are worth 200, big bouquets are worth 400. That does mean if you do squander these big bouquets on Ilia, for example, I'll just go ahead and show you why you don't want to do that. That big bouquet is now only worth 200 CP. Whereas, if I use the Book of Knowledge, it's worth 200 CP. So, basically, the bouquet is the small unit, or the single flower is the small unit, the big bouquet is the big unit. Just makes sense, guys. It's pretty simple. So, why is this such a huge deal? I only got 50 Iris, and I was saying that this could potentially be cheaper than upgrading units, which they cost you a fair number of resources. You have to spend a lot of Exilia books. You have to spend a lot of Falna. You have to do a decent amount of upgrading in order to get, a rank 2 or rank 3, 3-star, 2-star, up to, that level 76 in full max limit work. And it is going to take you a while, and it's going to take a lot of resources. Well, let's upgrade Ilia point by point, okay? I'm going to go ahead and grab her Holy Torch, just because it's the free item for her. By the way, guys, pay attention to these free items. They give these out fairly periodically for some units. It really, really, really depends. They get them. The Xenos got some of them. As you can see, I've got Val Bouquets, which are specific for Zard and Althea. I just haven't upgraded those yet because lazy. So I'm just going to use the Holy Torch just to do this. So if I do one Holy Torch, that's CP level 500. That takes her up to level 6. Now, just one of those took her up to level 6, but to do all of them took her up to level 19. Well, simply put, because if I go to offer present here, or I'm sorry, if I go to CP reward, it'll say I need 90 CP to get her up to the, or say 80 CP to get her up to the next level. That's what it says right up there. So it says currently 500, 580 is the next level. So let's go ahead and give her a present. I'm going to do a Book of Knowledge this time. I got plenty of them. Okay, now she's level 7. And if I go to CP reward list, now it says she wants 140. So every time you level up, they get harder and harder and harder and harder to level. It's like they're levels, It's like levels in a game. So for example, who I've got here, his next level is at 2000, where at Harahime's next level, she just hit 48. Her next level is 9100 away. That's going to take a while. That's going to take a decent amount of time. And it's not really worth my time. Like, once she gets to level 49, what am I going to get? Another 5 Iris, whatever. So, once you hit, those top levels, you stop getting, stat boosts. What I do is I just say, whatever. They're just going to get them in time. I'll go upgrade some other units or whatever. I use Haruhime all the time. So, getting her up to level 39 was a big, big, big benefit. Not really grinding these out on purpose. These just happen as you play the game. So, basically what I'm trying to say is you can accrue a decent amount of Iris early fairly quickly. But there's a catch. I did say I got 50 Iris through this, okay? So, let's see if I go to the guild here if I have anything. I actually do. I do. So, it says ICP level 2 times 130. So, for every 5 units you upgrade per CP level. This is every single CP level. Got it for level 3 as well. Every 5 units you upgrade, you're getting 10 more Iris. So that's what? 80, 90 Iris I just accrued? A little more than. So we just got a little more than 100 Iris just for that little tiny bit there. And we're not done. If I go back out here, I'm going to go to the main page. And notice I have eyes on the main page. If I click the little refresh button up at the top, I'm going to get Leafia. And if I go back down here, go to the character list, you notice my numbers are a little bit different. And they're pink instead of blue. Why is that? Well, let's go down and take a look at Aphrodite and Ilia. Oh my goodness, they're level 1 again. Because Belle, Leafia, and Aphrodite each have their own CP levels. They have their each own little, like, basically upgrades. And they do accrue. Remember I showed you Haruhime's numbers were absolutely insane compared to her old numbers? Like, it was a massive boost. That's because I've got her level 49, or level 39, plus across the board. She's level, let's keep going up here. There's a lot of units. She's level 41 here. If I go to Belle, she's level 45 here. So, as you upgrade units, make sure you do all 3. If you're new at the game, the way you unlock all 3 is you get the Belle main quest to level, I believe it's 15. You get up to, like, basically level 15, and then Leafia and Eyes will both unlock, and then just run the first fight in each one. And then you'll unlock these for free. So, really, if I go down here and I just drop, I don't know, a few more items on each one of these, I could accrue another potentially 50 or more Iris just for doing my upgrades here. It's so simple. And for Aphrodite, she takes the single flowers. I've got a ton of those. Let's go ahead and give her 50 and see what we get. So I'm not really worried about 50. 50 is going to make or break me. 10,000. Bam. CP level 19. Boom. All right. And now I'm going to go to the guild rewards. I did not get guild rewards, and that's because I probably don't have a 5th unit upgraded to that. But if I upgrade Ilia, she'll probably get there as well. So pay attention, guys. It's a great way to accrue quick Iris and, like I said, upgrade units. Now, like I said, there are some 3 stars especially that are quite useful. So you do want to be careful about this. And there are some 3 stars that are very, very, very hard to obtain because they only come from the event unit exchange, which I'll cover real fast because it is kind of a special caveat here. Event unit exchange. I've got 186, so I could buy some here. But there are some units here, and I'm looking specifically at Dion Kecht. He is basically, this is his only unit of the game. He doesn't have a 4-star. He only has this 3-star. So if you have his bonds and you sell them and you don't have him, limit broken, you got to go buy him here again. If you've got, like, the little girl units, we don't know if that will ever be, like, I've got a couple of bonds, the little girl Lily that I never put into her. If you have those units, new players probably won't, but if you have those units, you will not be able to reacquire those for a very long time, if maybe ever again. We simply don't know. So you do want to be cautious about that. All right. So before you sell units, double check, make sure. Now, you will see some 4-stars in here. And remember I said it is only some units that give you Dulb. You cannot acquire Dulb through these units. But if I grab Producer Hermes here, I can grab 3 of him. And I go back to Inventory and Bond, sell multiple. And I go to sell surplus, you will now see that, oh, it just gave me a bunch more Seiros. I'm now up to 636. I got 150 more Seiros for selling that unit, or those 3 units technically. So it did give me some surplus 3-stars, because I do, or 4-stars, because I do have him max limit broken, and it gave me 150 more Seiros that I can go in and buy more items with. So yes, you can use free-to-play units to grind this stuff out. Not Dulb, unfortunately, but you can with that. One other thing I will mention, and this is such a silly, silly, silly thing. It's very rare you would do this, ever, especially right now. But if you got insanely lucky, and I've seen it happen. If you got stupid lucky, and you max limit broke every single unit in part 1, and you're not worried about any of that other stuff, and you're like, why would I run the heroic trial? I don't need the free bond. These are real bonds. These are actual, honest to goodness 4-star bonds for those units. You could, if you have nothing else to do with them, sell them for Dulb. That is a possibility. That is the one way to farm Dulb in this game. It's not efficient. It's not very smart. But if you have nothing else you can do with the bond, let's just throw that little Easter egg out there. But for now, that's the video, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments section down below. Hopefully this covered everything. I know it's a very long video, but there's a lot to cover. So, new players, good luck. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments section. Like, comment, share. Catch you guys on the next one. And don't forget, guys, the live stream tomorrow night is a big one. Live stream tomorrow night, we're doing giveaways for the light novel. We're doing giveaways for a couple of acrylic stand-ups. We've got a lot of prizes tomorrow night. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night at 10 p.m. for the Danmachi live stream. We'll be doing a big, big, big event. So hopefully see y'all there.